Okay, so you know how it is when you decide, I'm going to start a new habit, and you're so excited for the first 2 days. We're going to talk about why that excitedness goes away.
I'm Sienna.
And I'm Toast.
We're partners in love, life, and music, and we've been together since 2001.
With each episode of this podcast, our goal is to help our fellow LGBT community members lift their lives to the next level. It's always so exciting to have a new, fresh plan for up-leveling your life. It's always so inspiring to start a new thing and just envision your new self.
And then to write it out.
And then...
like in different color pens. And you're like, oh, okay, I'm going to start it on Monday. And then this is what I'm going to do. And you do all the supporting
You're acting as
that
if you're
help.
doing it. And then the next
You're not
Monday...
acting as if.
Oh, you're not?
You're actually doing it.
Oh, right. I hear what you're saying. Including the acting as if. That's what I meant.
I don't know.
See,
You're
we need
confusing
communication help in our relationship. But you know how it is. You know how it is to have that, that inspirational rush of, it's a new life for me now. And the sun is shining.
dun.
And then the next week comes and your life is, you look around and you're like,
And those old habits come creeping back in.
yeah.
Yeah. I think we all know that.
I know, it sucks, man.
I mean, that's kind of like the whole thing behind resolutions.
Right.
Right?
And gym memberships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like,
Right,
yay,
okay.
it's a new year, a new me, a new me. Then in February, you're like, the old you.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, wow, that was fast. That's so sad.
Okay.
But
Come on,
we
people.
have information for you today that's
Yes.
very enlightening.
And that has really helped us. And we want to help each other out here.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about the biology of change.
But not really biology. Like, we're not going to be...
We're not biologists.
experts, right? Okay, yeah.
We're not
They
suddenly biologists. But I think it's super empowering and comforting even to be oriented with the reality of the chemical stuff that's happening in us.
Well, explain to them.
Okay, so that pull, like quicksand that draws you back into your old ways, it's a result of this discomfort that you have with your new ways.
Yeah.
Because if it felt super comfortable in your new ways, you would stay there.
Right.
But obviously, it's a little bit, maybe more than a little. Mm-hmm. It's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
When it's still, when you pass the honeymoon stage,
Mm-hmm.
but it's still new, it's still not comfortable. And that's because literally the cells in your body are having to undergo a change in how they process information.
So this newness, how they're processing this newness.
It's a strenuous, arduous work for them to do that. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like, I've been bringing up a lot of workout analogies.
I think this one really works with that.
But it's like when you exercise a muscle by overloading it, right? You make the muscle do some new things that it's just not used to doing. You're going to probably feel a little sore because your muscles, fibers, everything that's involved with the newness of it has to be accounted for in your biology. You are literally having to transform your actual physical self at the cellular level. Mm-hmm. That's having to happen when you work out. And interestingly enough, a similar thing happens even when it's not a physical workout, even when it's just a behavioral
Yeah.
or habit pattern type
Yeah.
of workout,
Yeah.
right?
So that
So that's-
that resistance of like, you were doing great. You know, you were following through. Monday, you're great. Tuesday, you did it. Wednesday, you did it. And then Thursday, for whatever reason, you're like, God, I just don't feel like it.
Well, this is the reason.
I don't feel like it.
It's your cells.
That's natural. Don't feel bad. I think we've spent so much time just feeling like losers about that. Like, how come I just can't do it? This is why. This is natural. And so here's the thing. If you hang in there, if you recognize, oh, this resistance is coming up. Okay, so it's my cells. My cells are changing. They're doing all this work, and it's kind of hard for my cells to change. And you just stick with it and do it, even if you don't feel like it. There will be great rewards.
because you're training your cells
Yeah.
to replicate themselves in a way that the new cells that are produced, they're going to want the new behavior that you have
They're
instilled.
going to actually crave the new behavior. So if you're like, you know what, I got to get more green juice in me. I'm just eating like crap. And you are drinking green juice Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you're like, I'm not going to make green juice. I don't feel like it. But if you just recognize that, okay, my cells are changing. So I'm expecting this to happen. So this means do it. You make your green juice, you drink it. The next day you drink your green juice. Then after you get through that cellular adjustment, that cellular makeover, on the other end of it, your cells are going to start telling you like, hey, make green juice. We want green juice.
Yeah.
Or, green juice. Don't you feel like a green juice? And then it's going to be so much easier to keep these new healthy habits.
It's interesting how in the world of working out and exercise, like when you experience that soreness, it's, I don't want to say a badge of honor because I think that might be going too far. But you take that as an indication that, hey, your workout worked.
Yes.
Like it
Yes.
did what it was supposed to do. So that's a good thing that you're feeling like achy and
Yeah.
feeling junk. You know, it's a sign of progress. Right on. And you know, allow your body to help your body to recover. Of course, don't abuse your body and just try to make it sore all the time. But the sign of the soreness is a sign of progress. It's a good thing. So if we can adopt that same kind of mindset and interpretation when we experience resistance, when developing a new kind of habit pattern, that would be fantastic, right? Like if on Monday I start my new habit pattern of meditation every morning, and then by the next Monday I feel this resistance to it, if I can interpret that resistance as, hey,
Oh, it's working.
Hey, it's working. Like you're
Yeah.
really developing this habit now, you know? So just do it again. Yeah, you don't feel like it. I understand, but that's just how it feels when you're developing a new habit. That's all, you know, kind of like, hey, if you're quitting caffeine, you're going to have a caffeine withdrawal headache. It's like, that's working.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's because you haven't had caffeine. Just keep not having caffeine and the headaches will go away.
Right.
Right. That's how you work through or deal with the discomfort. Yeah, it's not pleasant, but the other way is not pleasant also.
Right. And it's such such a small price to pay.
It's
To
temporary.
just force yourself to do something
it's
for
it's
a few days.
Yes, it's a temporary
Yeah.
discomfort.
Yeah.
And if you just keep pushing through, then you're going to have permanent rewards.
Right.
But if you don't push through, oh my God, then you're just going to keep having the discomfort of trying to change.
Right. And I think that this information is so helpful because I think a lot of people, like say if it's a new exercise routine, right? And then 1 week is great and then the next week it's like, oh, I don't know.
Boring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I think a lot of people might think, oh, I guess I just don't like this workout.
I guess
Maybe-
I'm just not an exerciser.
Maybe this isn't the workout for me. Like, I don't want to feel like this every time I have to do my workout. So it must mean that I need a different workout, you know? But if you did it like 5 days in a row with no problem and you had enjoyed it, you probably really enjoy it. You know what I mean? If you could get through 3 to 5 days of it.
Yeah.
So I think it's just interesting, the things we kind of tell ourselves, you know? Yeah. And it's also like that thing about how you're growing when you're uncomfortable.
Yeah. I'm laughing because,
you know,
I remember that time where I had experienced a change. Like, I decided, you know what? I got to change my mindset. Like,
because Toast was okay. Let's share a little backstory.
Okay.
So Toast was in this mode of just like kind of being cynical and a little leaning towards like pessimism. But she wasn't
being
always
kind.
like that.
Sienna's
She
being
wasn't always
kind.
like that. And then I dragged her to this workshop,
And there was all this upbeat music and happy, clappy people, and I'm standing around and I'm like, you guys are freaking weird.
And I felt weird.
Whatever.
I mean, I didn't, I don't love to like dance with strangers. I don't. And I don't even think dancing needs to happen when you're learning something that has nothing to do with dancing. So anyways, whatever, but I just did it. But the thing about it is I guess it worked because Toast felt really good. We both walked away with a new set of tools to use for our life.
And I made a conscious choice of like, you know what?
I'm gonna try this.
Yeah. Like, I don't.
Like, what you've been doing hasn't been working.
Right. Like, I've done my cynical, pessimistic
Been
phase.
there, done that. Been
I've
there.
done my cynical, pessimistic phase. And let's do something else now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're kind of like sometimes an asshole
I was gonna-
acting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a little bit like that sometimes, right? So anyways, this was like, a week after whatever, we came back from the thing.
The workshop was over.
And
And we're trying to, I'm trying to be my new self here.
And then we went on errands.
And then we get out, we park the car and we get out of, this was supposed to have been a weekend where, we're just going on errands together. And we needed to go to the local pet store. So we get out of the car and we're walking across the parking lot towards the pet store. And I just say, I'm being so positive. I'm irritating myself. Yeah, I was.
Yeah, you're like, I'm kind of irritating myself.
Yeah.
Like, because it was uncomfortable.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're like, this feels gross.
Like, I'm all positive
Like,
now.
I don't know. What is
like,
that?
what the fuck?
Yeah. Oh, yuck.
But I think that's a good example of the resistance.
And I just laughed. And yet, at the same time, I remember you had shared with me that you were feeling happier.
Yeah. But the funny part is that because I was happy, I got irritated.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Another aspect to this whole concept of how do we make the new stuff stick, right? Our new habit patterns, our new points of view. How do we make it stick? Or how do we push through the resistance, I guess? How do we push through the resistance to the new patterns? I find that something that's important to me that helps me is the concept of what kind of person I want to be and how I want to view myself. In other words, self-discipline. I view discipline as being mental toughness. And I feel the way I relate to that is that this discipline is what fuels my results. Like, if I want to work on a project, part of the fuel for that is the discipline to apply myself to that project or new habit or new mindset. But also, just as important, the discipline fuels my self-respect. regardless of the results. Like, I'm trying to come up with an example. Like, if I'm wanting to fix the toilet, I don't know. Like, I'm trying to pick something that may or may not result in a successful outcome. Right? Like, if I take on a project that, I don't know if I can do this. I'm going to try and fix the refrigerator or fix the washing machine.
Which you have done both.
Which I have done both. Yay!
Yeah, successfully.
I'm going to enter into it, and the discipline of applying myself and working through the unknowns, the discipline is going to fuel the results. And hopefully that's a fixed washing machine. But even if it's not a fixed washing machine, the discipline is going to fuel my self-respect.
Yeah.
That's what's important to me. And I think that's the payoff. The self-respect, being able to look yourself in the mirror. That thing of like, when you go to bed at night, how do you feel about yourself?
Yeah.
That to me is that's the thing that, man, you can't have that taken away from you.
Right.
Yeah,
very true.
Yeah. So I feel that's another way to come at it.
That's good.
Yeah.
So before we close out this podcast, we just wanted to share an example of a new habit for us that we started not quite at the top of the year, but probably mid-January, I would say. Mm-hmm. And actually, there's two habits that took quite an adjustment to make, where we did feel this discomfort of like, I don't want to. And one of the habits was to start the day off with a fresh celery, ginger, and lemon drink. So
freshly made by Sienna, from actual celery.
So I would make that, but I gotta tell you, after we started that habit, and in the beginning it's like, oh, it's so good. This juice is so good. I feel so clean. Wow, this is so good. There was a day where I was like, we can't be doing this every day. Like, look how much time, washing all these. Oh my God, it's just so much to do. But we pushed through.
Well, you pushed through.
I pushed through.
All props to Sienna on this one, because she comes down. She does everything.
I pushed through. And then, I even used the excuse of, it's too cold. Who wants juice? We can't be drinking. But then, you know what remedied that? Was just taking the fruits and vegetables out of the refrigerator first thing in the morning and letting them get to room temperature and then making the juice. So then, that was just I'm searching for all kinds of excuses to not make it. But I'm happy to say that at this point, we've barely missed drinking a morning juice. Mm-hmm. There have been mornings where it just didn't work, but that's okay, because that's life.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we've been keeping up with that. And then
You've been keeping up with that. Thank you.
You've been there drinking it, right?
Yeah.
I know it matters to you too.
Mm-hmm.
And
yes.
so if I was just on my own, that might be a little bit tricky. Mm-hmm. But since I know it matters to you, okay, those days that maybe sometimes I'm feeling like, I don't need a juice today. I'm like, no, we need a juice.
Toast is counting on you.
We need a juice. Yeah. So that's great. And then the other habit, which I think has been the bigger one that I'm so proud of us for, is that around the same time, we also decided to cook at home more often. Because we used to order in and eat out quite a bit. Mm-hmm. And in fact, the adjustment moving from California to Oregon was pretty crazy that first year. So 2018, I don't know how many times we cooked at home. But if we did, I think it was you, Toast, cooking at home.
Yeah, mostly.
Barely myself. And this year, we started that habit. And I swear, there were times where I was kicking and screaming, and I'm like, how am I going to fit in cooking? That's a lot of time to decide what to make and then cook it and all this kind of stuff. But I'm also happy to say that we rarely eat out now.
Yeah.
Rarely.
And when we...
Not even once a week.
Right. And when we do, it's kind of a big deal, not just in terms of the immediate experience,
yeah,
but how our body feels
in
the next 24 hours.
Right.
Like it's pretty amazing and almost alarming
Yeah.
how our body felt like it had been slammed,
Yeah.
and not in a good way,
Right.
after eating our first
What's a good slamming?
restaurant meal. Yeah, I don't know. A good slam. Slammed. Yeah, our body felt slammed after eating the first restaurant meal in what, like 3 weeks or so. Like we ate a restaurant meal and we were like, oh, look, we're going to have some takeout. And then we had it.
Yeah, we felt horrible.
And it was like, ugh.
Yeah.
It was pretty.
Because you know what?
pretty
When
alarming.
you cook your own meals, you have more control, not complete control, but you have more control over your ingredients, what you're actually making, versus
Freshness of
restaurants
it.
buying in bulk,
Right.
and just buying whatever it is that, has chemicals or all of that stuff. So that was a bigger habit to cultivate. And I'm just so happy that we have been doing that. And it's felt so good. And we even up-leveled it by planning our meals a week in advance and even writing out the grocery list so that we're just getting what we need for those meals. Where before, when I wrote the grocery list, it was like, we probably need like 4 of this. I'm just guessing, but now we're not wasting food anymore. Before, at the end of the week, it's like, oh, this is going bad and that's going bad. Now it feels so satisfying the day before grocery day to see the fridge empty.
Practically.
Like it's like we used all that produce. Yay.
Yeah.
And it feels so satisfying. But was it easy in the beginning? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So whatever you want to create, whatever new habit you have or some new commitment that you have, something that you value that you want to bring more into your life, just stick with it and know that this period of being uncomfortable, this resistance time will come, but just be prepared, or now you will be prepared that, okay, that's natural. I knew this was coming and I know how to deal with it.
And know that it's a sign of progress.
Yes, it's a sign of progress.
Good on you.
All right. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, and have a fantastic week being you. Until next time,
This is Sienna.
and this is Toast, telling you, love life, live free.